Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A Michigan family stuck in Cambodia over coronavirus concerns is facing new challenges in their quest to just get home. Hank.
Detroit taxpayers claiming they've been cheated out of big money, and now legal action being taken against the city. We'll take you inside this lawsuit coming up.
And here it comes, the soggy end of this President's Day, starting with snow and probably ending with rain. Glad you're with us tonight at 6. Those heading home from work right now might encounter the beginnings of that snowfall.
But Ben, it shouldn't get too heavy and it'll soon turn to rain.
Yeah, believe it or not, the later we get into tonight, the warmer the air starts to move in and the more this is going to turn over into liquid. But it's generally all snow, at least what's actually making it to the ground right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that strip there where those darker shades are showing up from Ortonville down to Mount Clemens, that's likely snow that's reaching the ground. You go a little bit further south and we still have that pocket right there in the heart of the metro area where we're not seeing any precipitation. But a lot of that stuff that's further south of there still not reaching the surface in a lot of locations, but it will very shortly. So from here on out, we're going to be seeing snowfall at least through the evening hours. Once that 12 o'clock hour hits, temperatures actually going to be warm enough, even though the surface temperatures fall, going to be warm enough to see rain. We'll tell you how much snow to expect for tomorrow morning's commute coming up in a few minutes. You can track the snow coming in and watch that switch over to rain on the Local Forecasters app. It is absolutely free in your app store by searching WDIV. Guys?
Hundreds of Americans, including a husband and wife from Michigan, remain stranded in Cambodia tonight over coronavirus concerns.
Jason Colthorpe spoke with Steve Muth a short while ago about the new roadblocks they're encountering, Jason.
Yeah, Devin, they're worried that their names may have gotten out along with everyone else's on that ship, and that's why the airlines and other countries won't allow them to travel yet. But most of all, they feel their country now has failed them as they remain overseas for going on 3 weeks.
Current situation is we're still waiting.
Quite simply, Steve Muth and his wife from Onstead and another 600 plus Americans are in limbo. They're stuck in Cambodia where their cruise ship has docked. They've also been tested for coronavirus, which was not pleasant.
We took tests 2 days ago, and by that I mean actual tests for the coronavirus, where they take a long Q-tip type implement. It's about 10 inches long or so, stick it into your nasal cavity to the point where you swear it's touching the bottom part of your brain.
As far as he knows, they were all negative. He says the cruise line has been great. It's the American government that's let them down.
The real story here is that our State Department has not really been helpful at all.
And that includes the American ambassador to Cambodia, who they have not seen in their 3 days now at the hotel.
But if I had 600 plus Americans in crisis, in transit, trying to get home, I think I'd be here. Probably once a day, maybe twice a day, maybe I'd camp out here. Crazy, right? We're the biggest, strongest country in the world, and we've got embassy people who act like, that we're the problem, and that's really the challenge here.
And you can hear the growing frustration in his voice when he talks about this, especially when you consider this. People have jobs, pets, homes they need to get back to. Steve's wife was actually supposed to go back to work today, guys, and he's actually concerned she might lose her job if they're there much longer.
My goodness. And I didn't realize how they tested for the coronavirus.
That sounds very pleasant.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Does he have any idea when they can at least get a flight back? Or?
He's hopeful 50-50 tomorrow, maybe 80% the day after. But in talking to Dr. McGeorge about this, he said he would not be surprised if they get hit with a quarantine of another 2 weeks for people like that they might want to keep there for a while, so it could go any which way.
Must be miserable.
Yeah. Well, and let's stay on this note because about 340 American passengers from the Diamond Princess cruise ship are going to spend 14 days in quarantine at 2 military bases. 14 of those Americans have tested positive for the virus. Right now, we'll remind you that Michigan has no confirmed cases of coronavirus at this moment. The business impact, though, is rippling around the world. Jason, talking about the jobs impact of just one person. Apple says it's not going to meet its second quarter guidance because iPhone production has been cut in China. Worldwide, more than 71,000 people now have been infected, more than 1,700 deaths reported thus far.
Now to a Local 4 News update. One of the passengers hurt in a crash following a police chase in Ferndale has died. 89-year-old Mary Lackamp died this morning from the injury she suffered in the crash. Police say Harris Howard was trying to escape from officers making a traffic stop when he crashed into another car. No word on what new charges Howard will face. One passenger remains in the hospital. 2 others have been released.
No foul play suspected right now in the death of a Trenton woman found dead at a landfill after disappearing 2 weeks ago. The body of 86-year-old Irene Ken was found Sunday at the Riverview Landfill Preserve, which is in Brownstown Township. Police also found her car nearby. Ken disappeared 2 weeks ago. Michigan State Police have been working with police from Trenton, Riverview, and Brownstown on the investigation. But again, we are told that right now no foul play is suspected in the case. In Monroe County, police investigating a possible homicide after a person is found dead inside a home. The discovery was made around 3 a.m. this morning on Lewis Avenue in Bedford Township. Sheriff's deputies found the person dead in the living room area of that home. 2 family members that live in the home have been taken in for questioning.
A class action lawsuit now filed against the city and the mayor as the battle over residential property taxes takes a new turn. And now those behind the lawsuit are hoping to help those who faced foreclosure while also holding the city accountable. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester is live tonight. Hank, we're talking about millions of dollars here.
Yeah, we are, Kimberly. A huge dollar amount. Here's a copy of that federal class action lawsuit. As you mentioned, the plaintiffs not only going after the city of Detroit, but they also named Mayor Mike Duggan. This is a copy of the lawsuit getting lots of attention. Both the city and Mayor Duggan named in the suit. The allegation that the city was late delivering more than 250,000 property tax notices, and that may have raised the tax bill for thousands. Those I spoke with today are not happy.
I don't like that. I'm paying high prices of taxes on my building. Yeah. High prices. I'm saying I'm still trying to catch up with the rent, the taxes right now.
Yeah. What do you think about them trying to go after the city to recoup some of that money?
I love it. I love it.
The city denying any wrongdoing, and in a statement tonight to Help Me Hank said, the city complied with the law and we will prevail in court. The lawsuit names a number of victims who claim they lost their homes because of the inflated numbers. And last week during a hearing about the ongoing property tax battle, emotions were running high.
People have lost their homes that have been over-assessed.
Back out here live, I reached out to attorneys representing some of the victims named in this class action lawsuit. They say the goal really is to make sure that what happened never happens again. As you heard, the mayor's team saying tonight that the mayor and the administration, they've worked diligently since Duggan became mayor to make sure that this tax issue was not a problem. We're live here tonight in Corktown. Hank Winchester, back to you.
You know, Hank, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this story. Some people claim it's a problem that's gone on for years and years and affected quite a number of homeowners. Do you have any idea how many they think are affected?
Well, in the lawsuit, they're talking about possibly up to 80% of homeowners in Detroit, and they also point out that they think the majority of those affected are lower income people throughout the city. That is one of the problems here that's named in the lawsuit itself. Back to you.
Incredible. Okay, Hank, keep us posted.
Home values are on the rise this year across Metro Detroit, including areas that were hit really hard by the 2008 recession. Harper Woods, Centerline, and Ecorse, some of the cities with the largest 2020 residential growth. Overall, Wayne County saw the largest residential average increase, 8.7%, almost 9%. Officials say the demand for cheaper homes has led to increases in smaller, less wealthy areas.
Now to a story of someone stepping up to help when others did not. A young woman crashed her car into a light pole outside a gas station on Detroit's west side. And for a while, nobody called 911 or came to her aid. Victor Williams spoke with a man who didn't think twice about helping.
You can still see the aftermath of the single vehicle accident where this light pole was hit in the middle of the night over the weekend. There was a woman who was behind the wheel and no one was coming to her aid except for one man who decided to step up.
My biggest fear at the time, I was worried that the car might blow up anything because it was a bad looking accident.
Brandon Mosby says it's a discovery he wasn't expecting to find on a late Saturday night. A woman in her mid-20s who had crashed an SUV into a pole right in front of the gas station on 8 Mile.
I didn't know, if someone was in the car or whatnot. At the time, I thought no one was. I'm like, if someone was, maybe something would have been going on. Somebody would have been checking on her or whatnot.
But what's more shocking to Mosby is the fact that no one stopped to help. Cars continue to drive by and the gas station is still open with the clerk inside.
I asked him, did he call the police? Did he call ambulance, anything like that? He acted like he was irritated that I was, pursuing anything, just trying to see what was going on or whatnot.
Eventually, more people show up helping Mosby to comfort the woman as she's being removed from the car.
I don't know how long she was out there, but I do know that there were a couple people who did decide to help out. Once we were already engaged in the situation, they did help out. I talked with her for a second, tried to see if she was okay, tried to help her out the car. She was rattled.
Mosby doesn't call himself a hero. He just claims to have been in the right place at the right time.
I'm just glad that I was there to be able to help. Not a hero, just doing what a person should do.
And reporting live tonight back here, we're told that woman is doing just fine after a visit to the hospital. So thankfully, that man was there. Reporting live, Victor Williams, Local 4.
Indeed. Okay, Victor, thanks.
Police need your help in finding a robbery suspect in East Point. It happened this morning at the Family Dollar store on 9 Mile. Investigators say a man approached the cashier, claimed he had a gun, and demanded money. The cashier then did exactly that, handed over the money, and the robber took off. But these are two pretty decent shots of what happened this morning. If you recognize the man on your screen, give East Point Police a call.
Still ahead, one of our favorite homegrown success stories. Detroit City Football Club celebrates an important goal off the field.
Also coming up, you notice the new nutrition labels on some foods at the grocery store. Dr. Frank McGeorge will check in to explain the change, but also take a close look at how to best use it to your advantage when we come right back.